Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Thanks for coming for the interview. For a start, I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit about yourself, about your children. How old are they? And maybe when you start practicing GP in your parenting with them.
I have 3 girls.
Okay.
Yeah, one is 11, 2 are turning 9.
Okay.
So yeah.
Right. So the two are twins, like.
Yes.
Okay. So do you remember when did you start practicing GP with them?
I think when my girl was about before 2. First girl.
Before first girl was 2. Okay. And then the other 2 since they were born.
Yeah.
Right. Wow. Okay. Now you know that GP. I think we understand that GP has a lot of principles. What do you think for you comes more naturally? You know, when it comes to practicing some of these principles, what is the most natural for you to practice?
I think it's I believe it's connection and acceptance that comes more naturally for me, and you need me to share.
Any examples of why that was so natural for you?
I think maybe because I know that I'm having twins, so because of that, I actually made an effort to take my oldest out on dates when she was really young. So I think before 2 I started doing that every week with her. Then my husband also does that as well. Then I think before the twins, which also very young, we also started doing that very early with them, partly because they are twins and we feel the need to give them attention individually. So I think that's when spending quality time with them is very helpful. So that's very natural, started since very young.
Right. Wow, excellent. Before 2 you started spending time with you. Wow, great. What about some of the hardest principles for you to apply, you find it difficult? Could you give me some examples?
Examples. I think it would be realizing it with my oldest one. I think it's the healthy autonomy side. Yeah, more in terms of without me realizing it, maybe her younger years, I think I do a lot of things for her. As much as she is also taught to clean up and stuff, but I think a part of it, I did not maybe guide her to give her confidence in being more self-directed. So I noticed that a couple of years back. Yeah, so that will be one thing definitely that I feel
So granting her the autonomy, especially in the younger years. Okay. All right, great. All right, we're going to take a moment right now to think about some incidents in your children's lives. And I would like you to think about, for each child, right, one positive incident and one negative incident. So we'll take some time to talk about each of the children now.
Sure.
So with a positive incident, think about what happened and what has contributed to the positivity as you practice GEP. And then similarly with a negative incident, think about perhaps that's caused frustration, or even when you're trying to apply GEP, it was difficult and it didn't turn out the way you expected.
So share all the what went well first for each child, probably. Is it okay?
We'd like to go with that flow.
Okay, so I think what went well for my oldest child, I think is reasonable limits. I think in pretty much teaching her obedience and stuff, started since young. Also very single focused now. It was only one kid, so I think it was easier. So I think even when I had to wean her off, and I wean her off maybe after 20 months, So I think she was very used to having me. So I think what helped was because I think when I know about the concept of reasonable limits, right, it helped me to prepare her as well, and also not to make her feel rejected by me, right? So how to balance it. So I think I kind of prepare her 3 weeks to a month in terms terms of cutting down milk and stuff. So I think on that night when I told her this is the last bottle, this is the last time, and then I gave her a new bottle. She cried, but after that it was okay. So I felt like that was like something that I had to prepare, but it worked well at the end. So that's for my first child. Now my second child.
Maybe I'll stop there for a moment.
Sure.
What would you say are the factors that contributed to this positivity? You know, maybe like you said, the fact that you understand the concept of reasonable limits. And is there any other factors that you felt like it made it so easy actually, you know, to see it through?
Yeah, I think it's the preparation for it, like what I mentioned just now. And I think when you assure her that you're always there anyway, so I think it's the assurance given to her as well. And in whatever I say, I usually make sure I do so she know that, you know, she can trust me. So I think that would be the thing. Yeah.
So in implementing the reasonable limits, you actually assure her a lot. So there was a lot of actually, I would say, connection there to help her to trust you to be able to implement that limit. Is there anybody else that helped in the process of trying to, you know, get her to win or?
Actually, no.
Okay. Great. Yeah, all right, we can move on.
Okay, for the second child, I would say is connection and acceptance and reasonable limits. Example. Okay, for her, it was, I say both because I think disciplining her when she was younger was a lot harder compared to the other two kids that I have. And I noticed that I noticed that whenever I want to instill discipline on her, and she would actually come across to me like I'm rejecting her and I do not love her, like very strongly. So I think feeling that way, I just felt like perhaps the usual discipline that I do on my other two kids can be done differently on her. So what I mean is like, that doesn't mean that I take away the discipline. It just means that before we go there, she already knows she's done something maybe wrong. So I have to hug her first. I have to carry her first, literally, because she will already be crying. So I have to carry her first, hug her, assure her, and tell her how much I love her. And then after that, when she comes down, I walk her through about what has happened. So the reflection comes earlier, and then after that, the discipline. So we will still see through the discipline. Then after the discipline, we will talk about basically reconciliation, right? In terms of emotionally between me and her. So I feel like this, even though it took longer, but it has really helped to still see through implementing reasonable limits on her. But it's a lot of connection and acceptance first, if you ask me. Yep.
Right. Wow. So it's through, you would say, many incidents of trying, and then you realize that, this pattern works for her better. You have a lot of assurance, a lot of connectedness with her, and then you implement the limits, and she'll be fine. She actually takes it well.
Yeah, and of course discussing a lot with my husband about it, and then we at least talk through it, because it's not just a one-person thing for this department, in a sense.
Right.
So
through both your observation and discussing and agreeing to this is the way we'll go with her.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, wow. Okay, great. What about the third one then?
Okay, the third one is also reasonable limits. For her, quite cute the event that happened. I think she tends to have a bit more, she can grow more in the self-control, I would say. So when we have this thing, you know, in the family culture that we only give sweets like over the weekend, it's only 3. So I think when she was introduced that at that age, I think she was probably 2 or so. So I think the first week, you know, I did tell them they can have like any number of sweets within 3 on Saturday or Sunday, as in 3 as Saturday and Sunday total. So if you have 3 on Saturday, you have none on Sunday. So in a way, I'm also trying to teach them to also make some decision themselves, right? But they also learn the consequences. So for her, first week I know she just finished all 3 on Saturday. And then the other 2 did not. And they kept like either 3 on Sunday or 2 on Sunday. So on Sunday when she saw her sisters eating their sweet, then she's like, I also want. I said, but how many sweets have you had so far? So I think after that, that's when she told me that, oh, I cannot control myself, I really want to have sweet. I said, well, that's when you need to learn how to. Then, I kind of make a firm stand on that. So she did cry, but after that she was okay. And then following week, I think you could tell she had 2 sweets on Saturday and then left 1 on Sunday. And then it kind of changed more and more the following weeks. So I think that would be one that I can think of.
Wow, okay. So you actually see the progress she makes after you implement that so-called limit and teaching her what the meaning behind it. Okay. Any other factors you could tell that could contribute to the positivity of this progress?
I think being calm and also, my husband believing the same. I think it would not have worked if, let's say, she go to my husband and my husband give her, right? So we had to work together and to have the common ground. Yeah, so I think that definitely helped. And actually, my in-law obviously think otherwise and secretly give them chocolate. But we found out about it, and then my husband had to talk to my father-in-law. Yeah. So I mean, things like that help actually to work together.
Right. Okay. Wow. So unified message from the both of you. Yeah, and support from your husband as well. That's great. Okay. Shall we talk about the negative event there? Incident?
Sure. Okay. For the first one, I would say that it would be healthy responsibility and standards. And I think that happened in a way when I was really busy with the twins, and I think she would have been 5 or 6. Yeah. And I think I was kind of like relying on her a bit more, and to help me with like just casual things, changing nappies and whatnot, or pass me something. So I think the reason why I feel like this sometimes maybe didn't go well then was because I think I can't quite remember exactly what else I asked her to help me with, but I remember gaining awareness about that during one of GEP related thing, that it made me realize that I think I might have actually put on her too much over her age. Yeah. So I feel like that may unconsciously make her feel like she's not done a good job enough. So even though I'm encouraging her in many other areas, but I think in this area it was something that I definitely overlooked. Yeah. So that I would say would be for her.
Right. Okay, wow. Interesting observation there and awareness. Now, when you say that you realize, right, that okay, you might have based a little bit too much expectation on her, did you actually see any of that effect on her, like that has impacted her in a way?
Effect. I think I noticed the effect only after the realization, when I take note of it.
Right.
Yeah, and that would be, because we were going through a training, and then that's when I realized that I think I was doing that on her. So I think that was good for me to realize it and then try to amend it, and especially when she was young. So
But did you observe any, like because of that expectation, that perhaps there was a strain in the relationship, or she was behaving, differently?
There wasn't a strain per se, because I think we still spend time together, and in other areas I assure her a lot. But I think if I were to progress with that, I can see that would have caused something on her. Yeah.
Right. What would you imagine that would have caused her to become?
I think she will feel like she's not good enough as a big sister. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So it was a good thing that you put a stop to it before that progresses. You saw it coming. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Great. All right. What about the second one?
Second one. Wow. Like, as much as I share about what worked for her, so of course, like what I said, what did not work also was the Brace11 mix in the beginning because it's so challenging. Hey, actually, I'm mixing the second and the third one now. Never mind, let's keep to that. So the second one, because of her temperament and everything, like what I described just now, right? So in the initial years, like before one-ish, when she was already walking, I remember an incident that happened at the airport, and she started throwing a tantrum. So I took her to the toilet so that we can have some personal time. But it's a toilet that's like for the paralytic, right? Handicapped. And so it's like standalone kind. So what happened was I put her in the child seat. So she was sitting inside. She couldn't do anything except shake a bit and then cry. So I just wanted her to calm down. And it went on for a long time. But I actually just let her cry out, until she calmed down so that I can talk to her. I think she didn't even want me to carry her then, because usually I will go straight into disciplining her first before. So I think on that day I did not do that, but I think I was a bit helpless. So I just left her crying first. And so I think that was hard because I feel like after that, when I came out, my husband told me actually everyone else outside the toilet can hear her and wondering what's going on. Like, is there like some child violence going on? So I think that would be the thing that I can remember that was difficult. Like trying to implement reasonable limits.
Right. So how? What do you think? What else do you think contributed to it not being positive? That was.
I think it's when I just apply discipline one way, right? Like with the rest of the two kids, it's always been the same and it worked. So I think it's when I did not realize that every child is different and they can be handled differently.
Right.
So
Okay. Wow. And so how did you resolve the situation at the end after crying a long time?
Yeah, she still get discipline. I'm not sure whether it's the best way then, because that was before the realization.
Right.
So I don't think I have an answer to that.
Okay, but after that you realized that there was a better way of doing it.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, that's great. All right, what about the third one then?
The third one, what did not go well, I would say, is when I'm trying to apply, I feel like in my relationship with her, the connection and acceptance part, interestingly, as much as I say is the more natural one. But I realized as she grew older, she can actually trigger me more than the other two, because she's definitely more, what is the word to describe? She's definitely more, she sometimes can come across ungrateful. So I realized that when I sense any, ingratitude, I get triggered. So that's for me to notice my own trigger. So I can then respond very fast to her, or react, should I say, because I don't think it's a positive thing. Then I think that's when it doesn't help her to feel connected to me and accepted by me when she's saying something or when she's doing something. So I think that would be the thing.
Could you give an example of how that happened, maybe?
No specific event. But I think it came to a point, even my oldest told me, Mama, I think you're a bit hard on her. And I thought, she's correct. So I think I feel like hearing that from my oldest one is very convicting. Yeah, and it helped me to actually take note of that more, and then to have more nurturing interaction with her. Yeah, be more careful of that is if I know that she tends to trigger me more in terms of her actions or her words. Unintentionally, she didn't do that intentionally to provoke me actually. So yeah.
Right. So interestingly, you brought in this point about yourself being triggered, right? And that's sort of like causing a roadblock in you wanting to even show her connection and acceptance. Yeah. Are you aware of what, like you said, ingratitude, right? Are you aware of what else is being triggered in you?
I think I may get a bit punitive on her. Yeah, if I don't watch it. Because when you react very fast, I think you can go that way. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, and I like the fact also that you said that you were open to your girls' feedback, your older girls' feedback, and that actually helped also create more awareness for you. Right? So when typical, say, scenario like this happened and you got triggered and you maybe got a little bit punitive, how would you resolve that situation? How did you normally resolve the situation?
I mean, usually we'll still talk about it, and assure her. Like that's the way I resolve it. And but of course, I think over the last 1.5 years or more, since that feedback, I think I'm very mindful too, because my third one usually, as much as she's probably the most vocal, but when she's like sad or rejected, I think she gets very quiet. Yeah, it's like the opposite. And so if I leave her on her own, I do not know what messages she's hearing to herself, like about what I think of her. So I think that would be the thing that I felt like I could have done better. So even though we usually talk through things and stuff, but I don't think I made sure that the messages she hear about what I think of her is correct after whatever that has happened. So I think that would be the thing.
But you are, I think, keenly aware enough to know that when she gets a little quiet, that's when she's feeling rejected. Yeah, so that's again an observation that you're able to make. Then that will sort of point you to try and talk to her and resolve it. Yeah. Okay, great. All right, we're going to move on to talk about the challenges that we face in trying to implement GEP principles in our parenting. You probably have covered some of that in the incidents that you mentioned already.
Yeah.
But looking back, how do you think you have grown as a parent? I think, like you said, you started practicing when your oldest girl was 2, right? All the way to now. How have you grown as a parent? For example, in the area of maybe your own coping styles, knowing your own triggers, learning how to meet the needs better.
I would say that actually I am very mindful to especially the first one, the healthy autonomy part. I think she needed more, or she needs more confidence in that. So I'm very mindful of that, like getting her to be more confident in doing something herself, talking to people herself. I think talking to friends she's fine, or talking to people she's fine, but I think it's when she has to go out of her comfort zone to ask inquiries or order something. So I'm letting her do that a lot now, and I think like a recent incident that happened when we kind of missed each other when I was supposed to pick her up from her after her extra class, and then we totally missed each other, not from school, somewhere in a cafe. So I actually walked all the way up to the school again because I couldn't see her for 10 minutes and I was actually late. So I was a bit frightened what happened. So then after that, when I walked back, or actually I got a phone call when I was walking back down, then it was actually her. And she actually used somebody's phone and I thought it was a friend's phone. Then when I saw her, then I found out that actually she went up to the counter and asked the barrister, can I borrow your phone? And then after that, the barrister lent her his phone. So I really encouraged her. I said, there you go, you could do it, like if it's needed, you'll be able to do it. So I think that's something that I felt like slowly, since realization of that, it has helped. And definitely her sisters are definitely more, I think in terms of healthy autonomy, her two sisters have that more, so it kind of also helped her. In the past, it may not have helped her because she tapped on them to do it for her. But then now I think she's definitely growing in that. So I feel like it helped me a lot to learn how to do that with her more and more. And I think it teaches me also about the fact that they are all very different, right? So even though they are all their basic core emotional needs to be met, but I think because I know that they are different, so then it helps me to focus on what nurturing interaction I can give to each of them. Because like my second one needs a lot of connection or acceptance, like I feel like twofold more than the other two. And so I think that would be the thing that I feel like that I've grown in terms of awareness, in terms of like being mindful of each child, being still consistent with the days. I mean, the things that I've been doing, still doing it, and I think that would be the thing.
Right. Also, it sounds to me that your awareness keeps growing with each child, and as you see how when you put it into practice and it actually works, and that encourages both you and your child, and also noticing that each child is different, and you find different ways to meet their core emotional needs through different nurturing interactions. Wow, that sounds great. How would you say that has affected your relationship with them? Or imagine if you had never known GEP, how different it would be. Like if you had never practiced or you've never known GEP, and now that you've practiced GEP, like what would you say is like, wow, that has been a drastic change?
I don't think I would have taken dates seriously. I don't think I would have taken meal time seriously. I think I would have used my phone in front of them a lot more, but I don't. Usually when I'm with them, I put it aside because I want them to learn that they are more important, or when I go on date with them. And that's also to prepare them when they're teenagers. So that they know, I'm doing it, they can follow too. I think if there's no GEP, I would also think that I may not have seen them as individual and build my relationship with them differently, each one of them. So I think I may use just one style and that's it. So I think GEP, without GEP, I think it would have been very different. Atmosphere at home would be very different as well.
Right. So now you feel you're able to enjoy a very unique individual relationship with each of them because you recognize they are different. Okay, great. And you would say atmosphere is different, would have been different, right? So how would you describe atmosphere right now? The positivity of it.
There's a lot of play. My husband helped a lot with that. He's very silly. And then my third one is very silly too, so they add on to it. So they have each other to play with, and then and even though the older one will always say stop doing that because she's embarrassed, but I think that helped the family a lot. And obviously, we believe in devotionals and stuff, so I think that helped in terms of atmosphere and in terms of play as well. And
Right. Wow. So there's a lot of play at home and that really brings up the lightheartedness, connectedness, you would say, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, great, okay. Now you mentioned a little bit of nurturing interactions just now about being deliberate about, different ones will probably need more different nurturing interactions. What specific nurturing interactions do you feel that you would like to have more of? And what do you think will be the challenges that prevent them from happening more?
Challenges. I think with the oldest one, it will be continuously giving her or teaching her or providing her autonomy, support and granting. I think that would be an ongoing thing. She's pretty much self-disciplined. So I think that will be an area for her. And
would there be a challenge involved with that? For yourself, giving more of that, would there be a challenge?
Actually, no, I think now I'm like, I really want her to be confident about it. Yeah. I think with the second one, it would be, second one I would say would be confidence and competence, because I think growing in this society where academics are looked upon more important, we have been trying to teach her otherwise in a way. So I think she has grown a lot in that, as in not focusing on that, even though sometimes she still gets down. But I know that she at least will come home sometimes even with very not the best grades, but it doesn't hit her as much, not that she's numbing herself or anything, but at least she knows that her father and mother don't focus on that, and that we are focusing a lot on her efforts and also teaching her to persevere on more than anything else. So I think I will want to see her grow more and more in that, and also to be more confident of who she is and her strengths. That she has strength that her sisters may not have. Yeah. So that will be for the second one. The third one would be actually perseverance too, I would say, and also empathy. Yeah, this is something we have been actually teaching her, and she's been growing in that. Just that I know that sometimes she can still fall back into that, her own nature of sometimes self-centeredness. Yeah, so I think that would be the thing that I will look at for the third one. Yeah.
So to encourage perseverance and empathy, what nurturing interaction do you think you probably want to like to see more of from your side? I think it would be, for her, I feel like it's gonna be emotional nurturance, yeah, and unconditional love. Like what I say, I think she's the one that I get triggered more. Right? So I feel like when I do that more with her, and she's also more easily fun, so I just need to play a lot with her as well. So yeah. Right. Okay. So on the flip side, are there any exasperation interactions that you would like to see less of? And what do you think are the reasons that usually trigger the exasperation interactions?
Take a while to think.
No problem.
I think generally, maybe the thing that came to me would be the rejection part. To watch that in my reaction. Yeah. And is there another thing? That would be the biggest one actually. My own reaction to them. Yeah.
Right. And then you mentioned that your reaction usually is because something is triggered within you, and you've got to be more watchful just of that. Okay, great. Perhaps just two more questions.
Okay.
What factors do you think can impact your child's development and also your own parenting? We're talking about maybe not just your relationship with them,
Yeah.
but what other factors, perhaps marriage or in-laws or job, lifestyle, what other factors you think can impact?
School. Yeah. I think more than anything, as much as I want them to hear the right messages from me and my husband, they actually hear so many messages from their own friends and their teachers because they go there every day and longer hours as well. So I felt like that is one big factor to counter. That's quite a battle. Other external in-law has been better, so I don't think it's as much. Yeah, I think my husband has done a great job. If there's anything to talk to them, my mom is okay usually. Yeah, and I think I would say another one is because we have a helper, so I would say that it's very consciously teaching them to be responsible, to make their own bed and clean up after they have eaten. So yeah, to be very mindful that that is a consistent thing. Because of course there are occasions they don't, like if they are going to school in the morning, but weekends they do. And then, so I think it's to be mindful, because as you raise your child in an environment that you have a helper, I think it's very easy for them to be taken care of without them doing a lot of housework.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's true. That affects their own autonomy. Yeah. So when you mentioned about school and being affected by the other sort of unhealthy messages that which is opposite of what you would like to inculcate in your children, what would be some of these unhealthy messages that you have to counter, you feel?
Oh, you have to get full marks. Because they come back telling me, and I'm like, where have you been hearing this? What have you been hearing from us?
Right.
So I realized the message is so strong from the principal, from the teachers, and the way that they have been talking to them about it, which is very harmful. That they feel like they have to achieve a certain way in order to feel like they are competent or they are successful. And your question to that is,
like, what are some of the unhealthy messages that you have to counter?
Yeah, I think that'll be one. And then if the teacher call them names, which happened before, then I felt like I have to spend time to reverse the message.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So when they sense sort of labeling and rejection, then you have to reverse that message. Okay. Wow. Okay. So just lastly, is there anything you'd like to add based on your reflection on GEP?
I think no matter how many times you hear about GEP, you will always learn something, because your child grows, and then at each stage you realize that you need to grow in different nurturing interaction. Like, you have to be very mindful, because they grow and they change. So I feel like that would be one thing for me to remember, because now they're still like below 15, right? So they will change and I had to adjust. So I feel like that's when GEP, it doesn't matter how many times you hear it, it's always good to review it and then to reflect and rethink and then rechart the direction. Cannot always be the same. So
Right. Okay. Thank you very much for your time. We've come to the end of the interview. But on that last note that you made, I just want to say that that's been very helpful and insightful for me as well. I think one thing I learned, even as I listened to you share about your journey, is how you have been, I think, very deliberate, and you were able to, I think, even reverse a lot of the unhealthy patterns even before they progress further, because I just can sense your devotion and how much you care for the children. You think ahead of time, even whatever you do, that you model even for them. And of course, I also admire the unity that you share with your husband. That helps a lot with the environment and with the parenting environment together. So that's been really, really helpful and insightful for me. Is there anything else that you want to share based on this interview, or anything about questions or?
No, I think that'll be all. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for your time.